All right, welcome everybody. Here we are at our new episode, which is thinking versus thinking about. So welcome to our live stream. Hi, Betty. How are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Excellent. All right. Perception is reception, and there is no reception that is not perception. The infinity of good unfolding as one's own conscious experience is the full life. We can't say of our world image, we cannot say of our world image that is real, that it's real or unreal. It's real when related to mind as reality coming to view in language of present discernment, but unreal when separated from mind as something to think about. The God idea, the being principle, is mind self-expressed or thinking.
Or man.
Okay, or man. It didn't say that, but okay.
I know, I just added it.
Oh, okay. So the God idea, the being principle, is mind self-expressed, thinking, or man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's man, capital M?
There's just one man.
Man. Okay. Well, no change can occur in one's world picture except as one's personality, point of view changes. One's personality is one's way of thinking. This means that what you believe to be true constitutes your personality and the personalities constituting your world image. Now that's a big mouthful. I'm going to unpack that a little bit. So it says no change can occur in your world picture except as your point of view, i.e. your personality changes.
Yep. Because I am the world I walk through.
Right. So it
well,
then
changes, so does my world.
Right. So then it says one's personality is one's way of thinking.
Yep.
And it's not just my way of thinking, it's my world's way of thinking.
Your world, you are your world's thinking.
I know, but what I'm saying, it says this means that what you believe to be true constitutes your personality and the personalities constituting your world image.
Yeah. The multiplication that you do of it.
Like everything in my world out there, all the, you.
It isn't out there, is it?
No, that's what I'm saying. So it's all of that.
Yep.
So if I'm looking out at my world and I'm going, well, I don't like that.
Thank you for sharing.
I know, right? Put it in a corner in the chair. But I'm just saying that it got me thinking about this, because the way it says is that when where is it? No change can occur, blah, blah, blah. This means that what you believe to be true constitutes your personality. I'd rather say constitutes my point of view. And
this is quoting
point
Margaret.
Of views constituting my world. Can I say that? Can I swap personality for point of view?
Personality is your point of view, so that's fine.
Okay, so I can say constitutes my personality and the personalities constituting my world image.
Yeah, everything of which I'm aware.
Got it. Okay.
It's my awareness that has it present.
Right. And then we go on, we say the personal concept may look like yourself as unhappy or another is happy, or as yourself in want and another is affluent. If you have no belief about being, but are being, that is thinking, you're in the driver's seat, demonstrating the infinite one.
Yep. And that's all a quote from Margaret's book, What is the Idea?
Right, on page 70 and 71. But so the personal concept can look happy, unhappy, affluent, not, whatever. It can look all different ways in my world. And if I have no belief about being, but just are being,
just am being,
or the thinking, then I'm in the driver's seat demonstrating infinite one, because I'm not thinking about, I'm just being.
You are the thinking.
Right. I'm just being.
Instead of trying to do it.
Right. And I'm not thinking about and trying to figure it out and doing all that stuff, right?
Yep. Yep.
All right. Got it. Anything else you want to say to introduce this topic?
Well, it's the most common thing we all share.
Right?
It's a belief that we think and think about,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
And Mrs. Eddy points out that the thinking about isn't something that exists. It's
Just
something
being.
you make up and then you live with it and wonder why you're happy or unhappy or in want or flush or, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I want to welcome everybody here. And if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, smash that like button, that subscribe button, and the notifications, because then we get more play. You'll know when we have new live streams coming on board. So do that if you haven't done it already. That's my invitation. We're sponsored by the Institute of Metaphysical Science. And you can see up above scientificmetaphysics.org, donate wherever that is up here. And feel free to donate. We're actually in our little fund drive right now, so we're getting ready to launch that. So if these things make a difference in your life, then support them. All right. So heading right in. Oh, and if you have any comments at all, just type those into the comments box and we'll get them and we'll incorporate them in too. So don't be shy. Ask your questions, comment, all that kind of stuff. We love that. All right, diving right in, we're using What is the Idea? Pamphlet by Margaret Laird. And she wrote in What is the Idea on page 71, the human being educated in the school of science can think and act divinely.
Mm-hmm. Reminds me of that Bible quote that said, in my flesh I shall see God.
Okay.
You know, that's the point she's making. A lot of people think it doesn't make any difference because I can't do it. But there is a presence that you are.
Right.
That is constituted divinely all the time.
Yeah.
And when you're consciously present to the being that you are, you can think and act divinely. In fact, you do think and act divinely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. And then a little bit more on this. The God idea, or thinking, is not a process, but is the very power and law of principle doing to theories and beliefs exactly the same thing light does to darkness.
Yep.
So eradicating.
Well,
right?
you notice that the light doesn't handle the darkness at all. It just turns on.
Right.
It's just being itself. So it isn't that you have to go out and be busy doing a lot of stuff.
Right.
Just being yourself consciously takes care of all the rest.
Right. But you'll be doing whatever you're doing with taking no thought for the doing, just being.
Consciously being.
Yeah. Got it. All right. And then in Science and Health, Mary Baker Eddy says it this way on page 127, line 24. Truth is not human and not a law of matter.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's divinity.
We think there's a truth around every activity of daily life, but the way it looks is never the way it is.
Right.
So you don't want to attach stuff to the way things look.
Yep.
You want to leave it alone.
Okay.
You know, there's nothing seen, heard, and felt about the God idea, about truth, or about love, or about life, or principle, or mind. It's not something I can reach up and touch.
Right.
We live and move and have being mentally, and we always have. And so every chance she gets, Mrs. Eddy reminds us of that.
Right.
So does Margaret.
Right. All right. And the more I understand true humanhood, the more I see it to be sinless, as ignorant of sin as is the perfect maker. And that's from Unity of Good by Mary Baker Eddy.
Yep.
So there is no sin, then, is what she's saying there. The
Yeah.
more I understand true humanhood, the more I see it to be sinless. We just do what we do.
Yeah.
And would you say that that's the highest human right under the circumstances?
The highest right under the circumstances.
Is that
Humanly speaking, it's all you can do, and you do operate at that level.
always?
Mm-hmm. You may think that there's a time when you're better than other times, but that's not true.
Okay. That would just be a superstition?
Well, it'd be a belief.
Okay.
No fact backing it up.
Right. I get you. Okay. And then in Mind is the Athlete, your book, Betty, you wrote on page 31, have you ever wondered what has us behave the way we do? Yes. I have wondered that.
Read the note.
Ah, okay. It has to do with an instinctive or intuitive awareness that we already own it all.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So say more about that. So have you ever wondered what has us behave the way we do? We behave the way we do because it has to do with an instinctive or intuitive awareness that we already own it all.
Yep.
Infinite.
Yep.
Abundant.
And
Joyful.
Ever present.
Ever present.
Yeah, I think I have to do something to make it that way, but that isn't true.
It's
I'm
always there.
operating at the level of my highest sense of being.
Yeah.
And on we go. If you argue with it and fight with it and decide that you will or won't and like or not like or all that fussing we do about stuff, you do all that, what you've done is kind of stagnated your onward flow.
Right.
For a moment until that clears the dust, and then you go on.
Right. Okay. Right. And then what is the idea? Margaret wrote, in the ratio that you are able to identify the idea as the performance of principle, the idea is taken out of the personal realm, and you have whatever support you may need.
Yeah. If you play with ideas and you have that be the value in everything going on from moment to moment in your daily living, you have the opportunity to allow it to be and keep walking on, because principle functioning is what's being evident every moment.
Right. Yeah, I was looking at some stuff yesterday, and I was doing my morning pages, and I was looking at, what's happening, and some of what I could worry about and be anxious about and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, well, if all is infinite mind, infinitely manifest, and it's abundance and joy and self-expression, satisfaction, present, then there's nothing that is outside my world, my being. It's all my own being. And then I started to play with everyone that I interact with in my world, and it was like, oh, that's my world. And I remember what you said about, I know I exist, I'm not so sure about you. Right? Like that's something we've talked about. And I thought, well, that's all my own being.
That's right.
I don't know that that's all my being showing up the only way I can see it.
Yeah.
And then walk on.
That fits the Mrs. Laird's definition of man, the conscious infinitude of being.
Yeah.
Everything is that.
Yeah.
There is no other than one thing going on.
Right. And instead of thinking about, this is the cool part, because instead of thinking about whether it was right to say this or that, or be enthusiastic about this or that, I just was myself. And I was just, having fun, and all kinds of things opened up in different ways for me, in new ways and fresh ways, and like things I wasn't expecting.
Yep.
And it was amazing.
Yep.
But I had grounded right there, acknowledged the divinity present, just acknowledged it,
Yep.
in this way that was really clear about, oh, that is all my own being.
Yeah, there's just one me.
Yeah, it's not about thinking about, well, was this right? Is that right? Blah, blah, blah. It was just being. It was just joy present.
Spontaneous.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It was very
Great
interesting.
freedom.
Yeah, it very much. Okay, in Science and Health on page 127, starting on line 8, Mary Baker Eddy wrote, there can be nothing beyond illimitable divinity. Truly, it's infinite. I wouldn't say illimitable. That just seems weird. I'd say unlimited.
Well, you can discuss that with Mrs. Eddy.
I know. I'm just saying it's the same word, right?
I don't know. I haven't compared them.
All right. Okay. Well, somebody out there compare them and make a note below and tell us, is there any difference? Okay. Just saying. All right. Science must be comprised in a knowledge of understanding or understanding of God. Science must be comprised in a knowledge or understanding of God.
Yeah. Without the understanding of the God idea, there isn't any science.
Right.
Because science is that understanding.
Yeah. 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 If you didn't have that as a basis or a ground of being, you wouldn't have science, at least not metaphysical science.
Yeah.
That we're talking about, right?
Yep.
Okay. And on Mind is the Athlete on page 31, you wrote, the divinity that embraces the humanity of every single individual knows no limitation in any direction of thought.
Yep.
It's limitless.
Yep. It's another way of saying all is infinite mind.
Mm-hmm.
All. Yeah.
Right. And I remember you saying all, and not all like a box of cereal. All, like everywhere.
All that exists or seems to exist.
Right. And with no limits, like, when you look at it and say, well, this is perfect over here, but it's not so perfect over there.
Yep. It either is or it isn't.
Right. All. Yeah. So
The
definition of
one
all.
is true for all.
Yeah.
It's like the sense of freedom that you were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That pervades all of your living, not just the stuff you did yesterday.
Right. Right.
It's an ongoing presence that you are.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then on What is the Idea on page 72, Margaret Laird wrote, being, whatever the name, is thinking.
Yep. Mind action.
Yep.
Always.
And then showing up in the only way you can see it.
Yeah. And however you see it, that's what it is. And the more you let it alone and just say, okay, whatever, the more it stands right in good support.
Yeah.
Constituting your experience.
Right. And the more you mess with it and think about it and cogitate on it and be anxious over it, that's just more thinking about. Now you're stuck.
That's right. You short-circuited.
Right. Exactly. Until I can get with it and acknowledge being, whatever the name, is thinking.
Yeah, read the note about it.
The instant you accept the theory that yourself, your world, or your God is something to think about, you and your world and your God become as illusory as a lake in a mirage.
Yep. Isn't that a great sentence?
It is. I like that. I might have to bookmark that. That's very good.
See,
Yeah. Any questions? Does anyone out here watching have questions? Put your questions in. Type them in. What are they? This is good stuff. Okay, go ahead, Mom. Sorry.
well, I was going to say, as you walk along, living your science consciously at whatever level you're working with, this is true. This is it's like a level of being present, and it is all pervasive in your living, in your experience. However you're being is what your world is being.
Yeah.
So when you can be consciously aware, but allowing the Betty to sit in the corner, so to speak.
Right.
That being is present, functioning perfectly right now, because all is infinite mind, whether I know it or not.
Yeah.
You know, the minute I can relax into that mode of perception and just allow it to be, the freer is going to be my experience of whatever I'm up to, wherever I am.
Right.
I'm talking about Betty now.
Right.
You know, it's like living myself divinely takes care of my human behavior and constitutes it.
Yeah. 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 Much better care than thinking about or worrying about or any of the other abouts.
Yeah, or trying to come up with the best idea.
Right. 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 All right. In Science and Health, Mary Baker Eddy wrote it this way on page 127, line 16. Science reveals God as divine principle, supreme being, mind.
Mm-hmm. And the note that goes with it.
It teaches that matter is the falsity, not the fact of existence.
Yep.
Yeah. And how much do we look at the matter and material going on and take it as truth, as fact? False.
And I remember Dad used to say, "Why me, oh Lord? I've been good today," you know.
Right.
And
Right.
he'd laugh about it. But we do think to ourselves that we're being very good, as versus being not so good,
Right.
or whatever. And all of that comes into play in this letting it alone.
Right.
Because I'm not sure I want to let it alone if I've decided that it really isn't top notch.
Right. Right.
And I'm going to fuss for that one because I think it could do better.
Right.
And it can never be anything more or less than perfection present, functioning perfectly.
Yeah. So we've got someone who looked up illimitable. Polly did.
Good.
Thank you very much, Polly. That's awesome. She looked it up, and illimitable and unlimited, and they are pretty much identical in her synonym finder book.
Oh, good to know. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. That's awesome. I appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so then moving on, and Mind is the Athlete, you wrote, the booby trap is in believing what you see in place of seeing what you believe. And there's, if we go back, about matter is the falsity, not the fact. What I wanted to say there is, you buy the matter and you're talking fake news.
Yeah, you're making it up as you go.
Yeah, it's
and
not
blaming it on someone else.
exactly. It's like, what is that?
The guy
I
who
just had that.
got fake news going on, it's his fault.
Yeah, exactly. What's that? I'm tired of that. Right. Exactly. I just had that insight as I was sitting here looking at this. So the booby trap is in believing what you see in place of seeing what you believe.
Yeah.
Now, isn't that kind of the flip side of the coin? Don't we see what we believe? We just haven't acknowledged that we're believing that.
If you're a student of science, you're working in that direction. But most people look out there and they believe exactly what they see.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
And then they justify it. Well, this happened.
about that.
Right. And then they justify it with saying, oh, I know how that happened because so-and-so, and then that happened and that's how it happened.
Sure. And it always goes that way,
Right. Exactly. So yeah, it's the booby trap is in believing what you see in place of seeing what you believe.
Yeah.
And
If I'm a student of science and I'm saying all is infinite mind, imagine seeing that idea consciously, just for a moment.
right.
There's a lot of power right there.
Yeah.
In place of looking around and saying, oh, well, that's a shame that happened, for heaven's sakes.
Right.
And
Yeah.
all
And
is intelligence functioning.
yeah.
When I'm confronted with something that I don't quite understand, I don't scream and holler and jump up and down and it isn't fair and all that stuff. But I just say, wait a minute. There's just one intelligent functioning principle.
Yeah.
Mind is all in all. Oh, okay, then I do know. So let's just listen. Because you see, the presence that you are, nothing's missing.
Right.
And when you can quiet down the belief about yourself and begin to live what you see as a fact of being, all kinds of things happen.
Right.
Takes care of the whole picture.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Very, very good. All right. The experience of fulfillment and ecstasy is present whenever you discover and access a self beyond your personal identity. That would be beyond the Kim or beyond the Betty, right? The quest is eternal. The rewards in human living are indescribably satisfying.
Yep.
So it's a worthy endeavor.
Hmm?
It's a worthy endeavor. And I loved when you said, just sit and think about all is infinite mind. And if you could see in your world.
Part of it's being willing to see.
Right. But if you could see all is infinite mind, huh?
And it's right here, being me right now.
Right.
It's not out there in the ether somewhere.
Right.
Wandering around looking for somebody.
And well, the good news is it's accessible anytime.
Yeah, and I just have to say so.
Right. Because there it is.
From your lips to God's ears.
Right. 4.5 inches.
It isn't even that far.
Well, I was just, I have to get my measuring tape out. But okay. But at any rate, anyone have any other questions, any comments? Would love it. If this made a difference for you and you feel encouraged to go and support the live streams that we're doing, the link is right up there at the top, scientificmetaphysics.org/donate. That would be awesome. Any rate, and it's all a nonprofit charitable trust, so tax deductible in the US. Any rate, so anything else you want to say, Betty?
No.
Nope. We have nothing else to say. So we'll be back. Next week, next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific. And we'll have a whole new topic that we're talking about. And we'll hope to see you there. In the meantime, just ponder. Just take a minute and get really present to I am all. And a knowledge beside myself is impossible.
Yep.
Look at that. What does that mean when you look out at the world you walk through? What is that? Just sit and ponder that. Just look out and ponder that and get present to it. And what opens up for you when you really get present to that? Pretty cool. Put a comment here. Love.
We expect a report back, Kim.
That's right. All right. Until next week, go forth. All is infinite mind. On we go. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks a lot.